Welcome. There's Shelby Boswell and Congressman Pete Sessions. Let me first set this up and say I know Shelby Boswell was texting me. They're in a storm down there, so we may or may not keep the connection. But this is a twofer right now because Shelby Boswell graduated from Baylor University last spring, and about a year and a half ago, she got on the radar screen of the great Helen Marie Taylor, our chairman of our board of Eagle Forum Educational Legal Defense Fund. And Helen Marie said, I've got this young woman. She's really smart and talented, and so you got to bring her up to Eagle Council. And she came up to the gathering, actually, and she became a part of our organization, helping us on the ground. And then Pete Sessions started running for Congress and needed a good staffer, and she went on Pete Sessions' staff, and now he's swallowed her up. So first of all, for all those young people that are volunteering, she was the head of the college Republicans at Baylor and a great student, but also was active in campaigns at the state rep level and got to know folks and became, as we always say to our Eagles, if you're valuable, if you're credible, if you're someone who brings value, people want you to help their efforts. So Shelby, welcome and introduce our esteemed guest. But thank you for coming and thank you for all you do for our work.
Thank you, Ed. So this is Pete Sessions. He was in Congress for 22 years representing the Dallas area. He came down to Waco to represent his home district, his hometown. He has a 100% pro-life record with National Right to Life, as well as an A+ rating with the National Rifle Association. He represents conservative values, and he'll bring that to Congress. So here's Pete.
All right. Hey, Pete, well, welcome.
Ed, how are you?
I'm doing good. Let me do another piece of the introduction. When there was a young guy running for Congress in 2010, nobody thought he had a chance. And Pete Sessions was then the chairman of the NRCC. And he came out not once, not twice, but 3 times to help me run for Congress. And I was as right-wing Tea Party as anybody. Every time he came to town, he waded in and helped. And we almost won that race, Pete. But Pete Sessions was in Congress for 11 terms. In the wave of 18, he lost his seat, but his hometown as a boy is over in Waco, and he's running. He's going to win this race. So welcome, Pete, first of all, and thanks for everything you do for a lot of folks. But tell me, what's the number one? We've been doing this to everybody in our. What's the number one Trump-Pence administration promise kept? When you say these guys actually did what they said, what's your favorite one of those?
Well, my favorite one, really, Ed, and if everybody does, he's in America great again. He's making us relevant, not only around the world. He is showing the American people that they needed a cheerleader for them, someone that would not just be for everybody, but would be for America and would make sure that American values, Americans' excellence, the opportunity to sell America to the world. You know, Ed, when America is great, the world is better. And the world needs America to lead the way. And likewise, America needs to stand behind our allies and our friends. And if we lead in such a way that builds value of jobs, of opportunity, of the ability for other nations to have a voice, then Donald Trump will have lived up to America again. It does not mean make America great and others do poorly. It means make America great and the rest of the world does well. So I used to be head of the Turkish caucus. I've traveled around the world. I've seen other countries. I've watched what happened when Barack Obama did what he did, and that was not just to incite socialism, but really to dismantle the things that made other countries great and make America second place and be just like some of the boys. And that is not my idea nor President Trump's idea about how to make America and the world greater also. So those are my favorite stories.
Yeah, we're talking with Pete Sessions, and Pete Sessions down in Waco, where our chairman, Helen Marie Taylor, is originally from. And there's the Helen Marie Taylor Museum of Waco History, which is great. And I want to make sure to plug that so Helen Marie knows I said that. But hey, Pete Sessions, you've also been around a lot of campaigns. You helped a lot of candidats. We're 42 days from the election. what, it feels like we've got an election fraud problem in some states. We're mail-in ballots. We've got big tech trying to put their thumb on the scale. We've got media going crazy. Where are we in an election cycle? What should people that are watching, what should they do in their home districts and all? What do you tell people, kind of where we're at and where we're going and what people can do?
Well, what I would say to you is that the real threat from the other side is there. This is not something that we speak about lightly and hope it won't happen. It is unfortunately a part of the political game today, and it's because there's a lot to be won and lost right now. Not only is it time for redistricting in all these states, but it's also time to pick a new Supreme Court justice. It's a time when the president is literally running economically, free enterprise system, running it away with new jobs and prosperity for America. The stock market until the last 4 days was at the highest point it's ever been. It is the embodiment of the free enterprise system on steroids. And that is what the Donald Trump administration, that is what Republicans in the House and the Senate have done with our agenda. And so you need to be aware that places that have Democratic governors, places that have Democratic rule, they literally are mailing out millions of ballots to every single person who's in their voter rolls. And this is unheard of because normally it should be requested. But the bottom line is that it is up to a state to establish their own voting rules. And there are federal rules, no question about it. But it is hard in a state for someone to walk in and apply a standard that they want when a state has its own rules. So it's real. My recommendation would be if you have the possibility of going directly to the polls yourself, I would do that. If you do not think you can, then you should have requested a mail-in ballot. Mail-in ballots may be requested now, but also until October 5th in Texas, maybe in other states, you can also register to vote. We need every single conservative, pro-life voter, pro-constitutional voter, pro-freedom voter to go make sure that they register their vote and then take care of their parents that are in these nursing homes and make sure their parents get a ballot and that you take it to them and you fill it out and certify that for them. Don't leave that up to someone else. So we're going to have to go the extra mile, the extra steps to know that that's what the other side is doing, will do, and we know that. So let's do the right thing.
One more question. We're talking with Pete Sessions and Shelby Boswell, his right hand there on the screen, one of our Eagles, and we're so proud of her. But Congressman, the House doesn't have a role in confirming judicial nominations, of course, but it obviously when it's 42 days before an election and we have this situation with a vacancy, transforming the Supreme Court, obviously a huge deal, but also transforming the election. Everybody that's ever run an election, the late Phyllis Schlafly used to say one of the best things she ever did was run for Congress twice and lose, because you know how campaigns work and you know how candidates react to things, and you could have the best laid plans, and then 45 days before election, Ruth Bader Ginsburg dies, and all you're talking about and thinking about is this confirmation. But how does it fit in for grassroots in terms of what's at stake? Is it the pro-life issue that motivates people? Is it the direction of the court? How do you tell voters to come up and say, what do our conservatives, what do we think about it and talk about it, and what do you think will happen?
Well, I think, first of all, let me say this. I think that the president has effectively said and should say that he will find the best available person in the United States who would be with the confidence American people have to take on this daunting task. You and I know that the confirmation process has always been my life a mess. It is where every single part of your life, whether you liked it or not, every one of your beliefs, said and unsaid, come into play, and it's the height of hardball politics. The president should say he is going to get, before he names this person, and I think he will, the best available person who would represent all of America, who has the resiliency to understand the law and applying that law fairly, and an intellect that comes with that to understand the intricate process and also understand the constitutional value. Our Supreme Court justices are expected to have many of these same qualities and then rise and grow in the job over years of tackling difficult issues and making sure what is tackled is wisely done. I think the president does know, and as we look at this, that this might be to a single issue, but I don't believe that's right. I believe that it will be about business issues. It will be about intellectual property issues. I think a lot of business issues are decided by the court. Social issues, political issues, issues among states, and of course, every one of these judges then will serve as the lead for their circuit courts and make decisions about them. And so they need to represent what I believe is, and if it is the judge that we think that graduated from the schools that is in the Midwest, she actually would probably represent Indiana and Illinois and Wisconsin, and would be, in essence, the lead judge for that area of the country. And I think it's so important to match up a person who would be of that content. It's a very important part of our country: Pennsylvania, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, and that makes up that region of the country. Now, is this going to be seen as just an abortion vote? No, I doubt it. It will also be lots of key questions about Obamacare. But the biggest one will be someone who has the intellectual capacity to understand the selection of a president of the United States also. Because we have had in our past the Supreme Court that's had to take on this task of looking at what states have done and how was concluded, and asking key questions. And I just think they're very important. So it's my hope that whoever this person is that the president selects will be the top of our Court of Appeals. He's got several names on there, and I would be happy with several of them. But they must not be viewed as being a single candidate.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Congressman Pete Sessions, thank you for your friendship. And Shelby, thanks for all your work there. We're going to let you go, and we just appreciate it very much. And anything we can do as we get going, I'm getting inundated by people who have encouragement and on our platforms. And so thanks very much, Pete and Shelby, and we'll talk. We'll be in touch soon.
All right.
Ed, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. All right.